We are here after some technical difficulties that I'm not happy about. But, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I can answer your guys' questions, comments, and concerns about Your Hero Academia. I think. I need something stronger than this. I don't drink. I can't drink. But I can answer questions. Let's go.
Alright. Guest. I'm guessing that the Energon quirk doesn't have any healing powers because you said that you are not changing anything about Tensei.
No, I'm not going to change anything about Tensei. Energon is pretty much purely a destructive force. There's no healing aspects to it at all, and as unfortunate as it is, Tensei's fate kind of has to remain the same, because even if Kurai could do anything about it, Tensei's kind of on the other side of the country, and he'd have better luck with Recovery Girl.
Alright, by the way, please have Kurai find out the truth about All Might and all of the All for One quirk eventually. I'm surprised that he didn't find out about it a long time ago. I hope that Kurai... sorry. Next part. I'll stop.
Okay.
My bad.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, is it necessary to the story for him to find out?
It's pretty early on, too.
Yeah. I mean, Bakugo doesn't find out until the end of season 3, and he's
known him his whole life.
He's A, known him his whole life. B, Deku just pretty much kind of gave it away midway into season 1, and still didn't figure it out until All for One versus All Might. But no, Kurai doesn't. Granted, Kurai's becoming close with Deku. He considers him a good friend at this point, but he doesn't know anything about.
I mean, at this point, he's like everyone else. He thinks it would never occur to him that getting a quirk from someone else is even physically possible. So, I mean, there's going to have to be a lot of things to happen that would cause him to suspect anything funky at this point.
Yeah, and as a writer, again, I try to things like that. I try not to make them happen just because I want them to happen. If it's going to happen, there's going to be a long game behind it.
There has to be a reason.
There has to be a reason. There's to be reasons leading up to it, and things that will be affected afterwards because he knows. So yeah, I'm trying to play a multi-layered long game with this story. And if Kurai finds out about One for All, that would be one facet of it. But as of right now, he has no reason to know or even suspect. But
you never know.
You never know. Keep tuned. Maybe he'll find out. Maybe he'll go his entire high school career without ever knowing the truth about All Might.
Maybe I'll come down. Maybe I won't.
Maybe I'll come down. Maybe I won't.
If you guys haven't seen that video, you need to look it up. All right. I hope that Kurai beats the Katsuki or beats Katsuki next chapter because I hate him. But if not, please make the reason for Kurai's loss be because of a brain aneurysm, because I know that Katsuki would hate to win that way.
He would hate to win that way because he knew that Todoroki could have torched him in the original, and then when he didn't, that was what basically triggered him. But that chapter's already out. You guys have your answer. You know who won that fight.
That's right.
You know who won that fight.
I want Kurai to do his internship with Izuku at Gran Torino's place because, again, I want Kurai to know about One for All. By the way, when exactly does Kurai die? Because you never told us when.
Alright, so answering the internship thing first. You won't have to wait too much longer before you find it.
That arc's coming up really soon.
Yeah, that arc's coming up really soon. We're going to have one chapter in between this next one and the internship. But yeah, the internship, you guys will get to start that in about a month. You get to find out who Kurai is going to be interning with. And it might surprise you guys. Is it Gran Torino? I mean, might be. You're just gonna have to wait to find out. That's part of the story. And speaking of waiting, why would you even ask me when Kurai is going to die? I'm not going to tell you that. That's half the mystery. When is he going to die, and how is he going to die? Those are the two big questions that I'm letting you guys sit on as you're going through the story, because you know it's coming. What's that?
You want it to keep you coming
back. I want you to keep coming back, and I really want it to hurt when it happens. Because I'm a sadist, apparently.
Well, thank you for your review.
Yes.
Even though this one gets very worked up.
That's what floats my boat.
All right. Deku Rose says, "Cool." Smiley face.
Well, I'm glad you seem to have liked the chapter. Thanks, man.
All right. Joe Clone. Awesome one. So satisfying seeing Bakugo get knocked down a few pegs. I just realized it's sort of like, sorry. Goodness, I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. I just realized.
Sorry, Joe. I didn't know you were so boring.
No, seriously, dude. I have recorded so many videos today because I'm a teacher. This is like, I'm hanging in there. I can do this.
She's putting in the plus ultra effort for you guys. You better appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because God knows I do.
Thank you. I just realized it's sort of like Masako X's What If Goku Beat Master Roshi in reverse. Has Kacchan learned Goku's lesson here? I don't think he'll take the loss as well as Goku did.
So real quick, I've seen most of Dragon Ball Z, and I've seen all of Dragon Ball Super. I've seen almost next to nothing of Dragon Ball, but I do have an idea of how the story went. And unfortunately, I also have not seen What If Goku won against Master Roshi. That's one I'm meaning to get around to. But I do understand that Roshi entered I think it was the 22nd World Tournament and beat Goku in disguise to kind of give him the lesson that just because he was strong doesn't mean he's already top dog. And that was a lesson in humility for Goku, and later on, and continues to affect him later on in his life as he operates under the assumption that he is not the best, and he never knows if he will ever truly be the best, but he just has to keep pushing his limits. So to answer that question, no, I don't think Katsu's going to take the loss as well as Goku did. I don't think that at all.
Plus, like you said in the video, he's sharing the spot with Izuku. Oof, right in the pride. So yeah.
Oh, but my pride!
I like the connection growing between Kurai and Todoroki. Seems to me that they'll be much better toward each other no matter which one wins this fight. And so, yeah,
Depends on how the fight... I think you're lending a little too... I don't know that you're lending enough credit to how the outcome of a fight can affect the way the two people interact with one another. At this point, it could still go either way. But yes, for now they're cool. We'll have to see how they turn out after the fact.
All right. Now, what's wrong with Yaoyorozu? If I were to guess, it may have something to do with either Kurai's way of proving that he deserved his spot in the course rather than doing the recommendation, or she could have heard a rumor about Kurai that has yet to be revealed, or another reason. I'm drawing a blank otherwise.
That sounds kind of those theories kind of remind me of Harry Potter a little bit. Like how, every year, he'd be top dog, and then there's some nasty rumor that starts going around about him, and then everybody hates him just because it's suppositions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, they are in high school. High school has drama.
Yes, this is true.
So
okay, we'll see.
I'll keep you posted on that one, man. But that's a good. That's actually a pretty good guess. I like that. I like that.
All right. Izuku's got the scars on the left hand this side. Okay, that's different. Wasn't expecting that at all, but like you said, butterfly effects.
That's a very small butterfly effect, but I'm glad you noticed.
All right, guest. Oh, thank you, Joklum.
Yes, thanks, dude.
Guest, is Kurai ever going to learn about Izuku's quirk?
Okay, I think we know who that was. Jeez, man, patient.
There's
anything
a
else on
lot
that?
of material to cover. No, that's it.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, dude. If the way that I'm planning it out, if I go 1 through season 5 plus the movies, we're easily looking at 80 plus chapters here. So you guys aren't even a quarter of the way through the stuff that I have planned out.
Yeah. So we'll get there. I promise. Well, maybe. I don't know. Maybe we won't. Who knows? We'll see.
Maybe I will.
I'm rambling. Maybe I'll come down.
Yeah, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll come down. Maybe I won't. Go watch that video. It's hilarious.
It's just Google or YouTube Skyjack pullover, and it's amazing.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, Light Hero Kaiser. Hey, you changed your name. All right.
Mason Lightus it was before, right? Okay. All right. Cool.
Oh God, this fight is going to be good. I think this fight is anyone's game, but come on, Kurai, great chapter mate. Blade Hero Light signing out.
I'm a little sad that nobody is rooting for Todoroki to win this.
I know.
Todoroki's awesome, but I mean, I guess I've done my job in making the audience like this one.
Yeah,
at least.
they're rooting for this character.
So like I'm torn. I mean, I love Todoroki, but I'm glad that you guys are loving my character too. So thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Meijin Light Hero Kaiser.
Light Hero Kaiser.
Dude, you're gonna. I'm gonna call you Meijin Lightus for a while. I'll try to switch over, but I have no guarantees for how long that's gonna take.
All right, sorry, I'm messing with my face because it's like I got something in my eye. I'm good. All right, Silly Kita. Ha!
It's your favorite.
I know. Ha! I was right. Hikari takes home the gold or silver. I guess that gets answered next chapter. Either way, Bakugo is left in the dust, and just to add insult to his injuries, he has to share the placing with Midoriya. Justice is served. I love it. Now, bring on the arc finale. Also, the internship arc. I really, really want the internship arc. Feel you, bro.
Man, you guys have got to work on your patience.
A celebration at the beach. Eh, Ashido? Do I smell an original filler coming up? I hope it doesn't delay the internship arc too much, but I also feel very intrigued to know how you handle / write a beach episode of all things. You normally seem to steer clear of those kinds of events if you can help it, but now you're making one up. This should be interesting.
No comments at the moment. I'm trying to. For now, I'll say that again. With every story that I take on, I try to push myself in some new way or another, and it's kind of a filler. It's kind of a filler chapter.
There's also some meaty stuff in there.
Yeah, definitely.
There's some solid character development happening.
Yeah.
Right.
But yes,
so it's good filler.
It's good filler. Have I made bad filler?
You don't like bad filler.
I don't like bad filler, but that doesn't mean that I have it.
Super, super cheesy filler.
I feel like that automatically qualifies it as bad filler.
Maybe. I don't know.
Does it? I don't know.
It's heartwarming, even though it's super cheesy.
Okay.
There was some real cheese happening in what's that one that I like?
Oh, I haven't released that one yet. No?
No, not that one. SAO.
Oh, Lost Wish?
No.
Or was it Shattered Fragment?
Shattered Fragment.
That's
there
the
was
one.
some serious cheese in that one. But it's precious, so it's fine.
Well, I felt it was appropriate considering all the murder and carnage that was happening.
So, I'm sorry. I'm his wife, and I don't remember the names of the I'm sorry.
Well, I've written almost 20 of them at this point.
Yeah, this is true. The first one you wrote, you just wrote for me because you wanted me to hear Fire Emblem story.
Yeah, and then we never finished it.
Yeah, we need to finish that one because I really was into it. You just didn't believe me. Anyway, moving on. I also look forward to hearing Kurai's hero name because, if memory serves, the episode / chapter where they pick their hero identities takes place in between the sports festival and the hero killer event. I went back to look at the hint you dropped on us at the USJ chapter, and all we know for certain is that his name begins with a K, and that he isn't going to call himself Kenobi.
Wait, what?
Kenobi? He isn't going to call himself Kenobi?
I mean...
I think he's trying to be funny.
Oh, okay. Is that what he's guessing he's going to call himself?
No, I think he's guessing. He says... Wait, no, never mind. I skipped a line.
Okay, I was like, that seemed like a sudden jump.
I'm sorry, I skipped a line. His name begins with a K, and that his alias is the Guardian Hero, which we know from the prologue. I'm probably making mountains out of molehills here, but given that Hikari is a Star Wars nerd, I almost wonder if he isn't going to call himself Kenobi.
Now it makes more sense. Okay, all right. I was like, how do we get from K to Kenobi?
I'm sorry.
What happened? My poor wife. She works so hard.
Okay, we're getting it.
I love you.
I love you too. Okay. There's a lot of opportunities for jokes, both as the writer and from the characters, and if that's the case. I mean, you are enough of a dork that I wouldn't put it past you.
What is happening right now?
I'm sorry. See, I know enough about See, and I can't give it away because there's some other fan fictions that have to do with Star Warsy stuff, and it's like it's festering, and I can't give it away. but okay, sorry.
I like that guess, man. That's actually some fairly good arguments as to why that would be his name. I like that.
Yeah. All right. Like I said, oh goodness, I'm sorry.
I feel like these people are just watching us to laugh at us less than they are.
We're ridiculous. I know.
Than they are just in our responses.
We're such intellectuals. All right. Like I said.
I don't have my glasses to even pull those off.
Stop. I'm trying to. Oh, nice. I'm glad that didn't have anything in it because all of your stories would be gone. Okay.
No, I have backup drive.
Ruins the fun. They'd be freaking out. Okay, sorry. Anyway, they wouldn't be freaking out. You're fine.
I'm the fun police, apparently.
Right. Like I said, I'm kind of reaching on that one, but that's my 2 cents that I have to give after thinking on it. Whatever the name is, I look forward to finding it out, and I feel confident that it will be a good one.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Aw. Since you update every 2 weeks, let me wish you and yours a happy Thanksgiving in advance. I hope it's a good one.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Same to you.
And that's it.
That's it. Alrighty, well, thanks for sticking it out with us, guys. We'll now move on to the part of the story where I actually read you the story, and we'll be back to discuss the behind the scenes after that is done. So, catch you in a few minutes. The fight concludes. You're gonna do great. A smile decorated Kurai's mouth as he said, "Thanks, Mom. Tell Dad and Nakarui that I'm really glad they came to watch. Love you." With that, he hit the disconnect button and handed the phone over to Mina, who smiled brightly at him. "I'm really proud of you," she said as she pocketed the device. She, along with Uraraka and Midoriya, were once again gathered in the prep room, waiting for the signal that it was time for the battle to commence. "You got this, Hikari," Uraraka said with a big thumbs up. "I know we're all classmates, but I really do hope that you win. Nothing against Todoroki or anything, I just think that you'll be a great hero someday, and that this is a chance for you to shine early." "I can't wait to see what other surprises you have in store for us," Izuku added, his notebook and pencil in hand. "Maybe I'll think up of some new moves for us to try while I watch." "Thanks, you guys," Kurai told them, marveling once more at how only a few weeks ago these people had been total strangers to him. Now they were among his closest friends, and he was very happy about that fact. "Your support makes all the difference." "Hey, do you guys want to take a picture real quick?" Mina asked, pulling out her own phone. "I totally forgot until now that we were on the same team for the cavalry battle. Maybe someday we could take a picture when we're all pros, and it'll be like a before and after." "Yeah, I'm down," Uraraka said as she held out her hand for the device. "Here, let me just set it to a time mode." Mina let her handle the phone so that she could use her zero gravity to hold it in place mid-air while everyone else gathered in front of the camera. Izuku and Uraraka ended up standing next to one another on the left, both of them wearing big smiles, while Mina and Kurai ended up putting one arm around the other, also smiling for the picture. There was a clicking sound, and Uraraka went to cancel her quirk and grab the device so they could see how it had turned out. When it had gone around to each of them, Izuku receiving it last, he said, "I think this is going to be a really great before and after, you guys. And here's to everything in between," Kurai said as he bumped fists with the other boy. Just then the buzzer sounded that indicated it was time for him to head out. "That's my cue," he said as he stepped away from the small group. "I'll see you guys after the match." "Good luck," Mina said before she pecked his cheek, leaving him a little red-faced and smiling as he left. "All right, ladies and gents, you know who they are," President Mike declared as Kurai and Todoroki took to the stage. "Both from the hero course, we've got Shoto Todoroki and Kurai Hikari. Both of them scored number 1 in their entrance exams, but only one can be number 1 here today. Eraser, any thoughts?" At least he kept it short this time, Kurai thought as they stepped out onto the concrete field at the same time as his opponent, who wore a blank look on his face again. In response to President Mike's inquiry, Aizawa said, "Both of them have the potential to be incredibly talented heroes, but their skill level and lack of finesse puts them both at high risk whenever they overuse their quirks." Kurai made a face as he and Todoroki reached their designated spots, saying, "Would it kill him for once just to say they have potential and leave it at that?" "He's not wrong," Todoroki answered, surprising Kurai. He had honestly expected to be met with the silent treatment again. "We have a lot to learn." "Begin!" President Mike's declaration interrupted what Kurai had been about to say, and Todoroki wasn't going to give him a chance to finish either. With a blast of sub-zero temperature, the heterochromic boy sent forth a wave of ice that instantly buried Kurai in its depths. "Whoa!" President Mike exclaimed. "Todoroki starts things off with a bang, just like he did against every other student so far. Is it possible we already have a winner down there?" "Unlikely," Aizawa said dryly. "The attacks are powerful but predictable. Hikari's a smart kid, so I doubt he would have gone into this fight without some kind of strategy in mind. There was a rumbling sound that began to emanate from the ice, along with a yellow glow that began to shine from within the mini-mountain. Man, Todoroki done goofed, Mina said with a nasty grin as they watched the light and sound build in its intensity. Midoriya was already writing rapidly in his notebook, muttering his thoughts aloud. If Todoroki had been able to definitively bury Hikari, it would have been a bad move, but it's likely that he used Energon to counter the ice to create a space for him to hide out and charge up one of his stronger attacks. On the other hand, Todoroki is pretty mobile when he uses his ice to surf around, so Hikari will have to be careful with how he uses his attacks, or else he risks overusing his power. Are we sure Midoriya doesn't have two quirks like Todoroki? Mina asked in an aside to Uraraka, because I don't know how anyone could talk or write stuff down that fast without taking a sec to breathe. However, the other girl wasn't looking at her friend, but at the stadium, pointing and saying, I think Hikari's about ready to get started. Boom! The ice exploded upwards from about halfway up the frozen mountain, sending chunks and shards in all directions, forcing Todoroki to dodge some of them, but he managed to keep his eyes fixed on the source. Kurai, now standing just below the crater he had made in the ice. He had a grim look on his face as he held a large ball of Energon by his side, a move that his classmate knew all too well. After all, he'd seen it in action against Nomu, and again recently when Kurai had defeated Bakugo, so he knew exactly what it was capable of doing. Your ice won't hold up against this, but a concentrated form of plasma might. Kurai said it pointedly as the orb grew a little brighter. Todoroki's eyes narrowed in the implication that his classmate was making. He knew very well that his flames would be better suited for fast-paced dueling at long range, but there was no need for Kurai to remind him of that. Why are he and Midoriya so vested in helping others, even when they haven't been asked? He wondered, resentment and frustration warring with his desire to be free of his hatred, even if only for a few seconds again. His mind flashed back to his fight with his green-haired classmate, and the words that had lit a fire in him. It's yours! Your quirk, not his! This power is mine, he thought, though his body refused to acknowledge. But it came from him and his ambitions, and not my will. Todoroki! The boy looked up, startled to realize that Kurai hadn't blasted him yet, even though he'd had plenty of opportunity to do so. Neither of us have given our best to be here, have we? Not really fair to our classmates when you think about it. So what? Todoroki shot back. Maybe we can extend each other a little courtesy and stop holding back! Kurai shouted right before he launched his Kamehameha straight at his opponent, who made a swift ice ramp in order to surf away from the attack. He misjudged the reach of the resulting explosion, however, and I wound up throwing him off his ice and nearly out of bounds. However, he managed to stop himself with a cluster of ice crystals that he put between himself and the edge of the arena. He whirled around to glare at Kurai, who was bounding down the ice that had been meant to keep him prisoner, cracks forming every time that his feet struck the freezing surface until he came to a stop on the concrete, both of his hands holding sparks of Energon in them. What do you say? He asked as he turned his palms to face Todoroki, who could feel frost beginning to coat the right half of his body. I don't want to have to flatten you without giving you a fighting chance. You're overconfident, Todoroki grunted as he got to his feet properly. If I used my flames, you'd be overwhelmed. You can't use your full power without risking a fatal seizure, right? Wrong. Kurai replied, the sparks of energy in his hands dying as he closed his eyes. The ground around him began to rumble, cracks forming in the stone beneath his feet while an orange aura began to build up around him. Hey, what's Hikari doing? President Mark demanded, only seeing that the match had come to an unexplained standstill. Todoroki tried to take advantage of his opponent's lowered guard, but before he could, he was nearly knocked down by a burst of air that raced away from Kurai as his body transformed, his dark hair and eyes becoming a fiery orange and deep blue, respectively. The ascended student looked down at his opponent and said, It's like we were discussing. Midoriya is a big help. He helped you to gain control of this? Todoroki asked as he forced himself to stand tall in spite of the racing wind and stray energy sparks. And I'll bet he helped you with your fire, Kurai answered with a sharp nod. This isn't about just our own pride on the line, Todoroki. We owe it to the people that have helped us advance this far to give it our all. The other boy looked indecisive, but both of their attention was caught by a familiar voice shouting, What are you waiting for, Shoto? Use your fire! They both glared up at Endeavor, who looking most displeased about the way that the match was going. Butt out! Kurai roared back, his temper rivaling the fire of his aura. If you're not in the ring, we don't need your opinion! Endeavor swelled ominously, but neither of the boys made a move to resume the match. Whoa! President Mike shouted with a nervous laugh. Hey, how's about we get back to fighting and keep the chit-chat to a minimum, you dig? I can't give him the satisfaction, Todoroki told Kurai, ignoring the people around them calling for the fight to resume. He wants me to be like him, and if I use the power that his blood gave me... Our blood doesn't define who we are, Kurai insisted. We get to choose what we do with our gifts, no one else. He saw something in Todoroki's eyes then, something like recognition, he thought. Now come on, Let's see which one of us can set the standard for our generation. It took a moment, but then he finally saw what Izuku had tried so hard to awaken in the previous round. It started as a spark in his eye, but then the frost on Todoroki's body evaporated, followed by a blazing fire that covered the left side of his face, melting the ice around them as Kurai felt a smile stretch his face. Now that's more like it, he said, his power surging through him while even the melted water began to evaporate in the wake of the fire. I never took you as one to enjoy a fight, Hikari, Todoroki commented as he took a wide stance. Normally no, but when I have this much power running through me, he grinned fiercely as light began to gather in his right hand. I think even the most pacifist of souls would be tempted to go just a little wild. The energy began to whirl like a vortex, and Todoroki recognized the beginnings of the attack that had taken Ida out of the fight. You wanted my fire? He asked as he aimed his left palm at Kurai. Here you go! Flames blasted out of his hand, scorching the air ferociously as they headed straight for his classmate. Kurai flooded his limbs with energon and launched himself out of the way of the powerful attack, knitting his brows together as he concentrated on getting his energy built up to the momentum that he needed for the Rasengan, as well as maintaining his transformation without utilizing the raw, unrestrained emotions as the fuel. He felt the air chill rapidly as Todoroki sent another ice barrage at him, the ice spikes reaching up high in an attempt to trap him midair. Using his left hand, he blasted the cold while continuing to build up his finishing move, though the effort was starting to give him a headache. Landing on a clear patch of concrete, Kurai unleashed a trio of energon bursts at Todoroki in an attempt to buy himself some time, but the boy's fire effectively canceled them out, even causing them to detonate prematurely in the space between. Ducking the roaring flames, Kurai rolled to the side a few times before he realized he was not going to be able to use his Rasengan to smash Todoroki out of bounds like he had with Ida. Still, he had a half-finished one in hand, and it would be a shame to waste it, he thought. Settling into a half-crouch, he slammed the whirling orb into the ground, breaking it apart and knocking several fragments up into the air. Springing upward, he lashed out with a series of bewilderingly fast strikes and kicks, each sending a piece of rubble big enough to use as ammunition straight at Todoroki, who was now forced to dodge on another ice wave. Willing more energon into his legs, Kurai dashed to the side in order to intercept Todoroki's current path, smashing into the boy himself and sending them both crashing through the ice, delivering cuts and bruises to the both of them as the barrier shattered. They ended up rolling on the ground, nearly falling out of bounds again as they began to wrestle to and fro. Todoroki tried to burn Kurai, but the other boy increased the energy output on his right arm so much that his opponent couldn't actually touch his skin. The orange-haired boy managed to get the upper hand when he elbowed Todoroki in the temple, stunning him and giving him the space he needed to get away and concentrate on reinforcing his body with more energon instead of just expelling it outwards. As his classmate got to his feet unsteadily, he leaped further away, clearing half the arena in the time it takes to blink, energy whirling in his hand again. This time, Kurai thought, his head aching abominably at this point. His only consolation in the pain of using his advanced powers was that he did not feel pressure building up in his nose that would indicate a bleed from an aneurysm. That trick again, Todoroki called out from across the way as he raised his left hand. It didn't work last time, so why would it now? Well, if I told you that'd take the fun out of it. Kurai laughed right before he launched himself straight at Todoroki, startling him just enough to make him hesitate for a crucial second. As he flew through the space separating them, mere inches above the concrete flooring, the orange orb in his hand suddenly accelerated in its growth and rotation speed, reaching the proper attack size just in time for Kurai to be right in front of his opponent, a fierce grin on his face. I thought... Wrong. Kurai interrupted Todoroki right before he slammed the orb into his classmate's stomach, through a barrier of ice that the other boy tried to put up as a last-ditch defense. Rasengan! His smile widened, certain of his victory, while the orange sparks exploded everywhere, sending Todoroki flying up in the air. He was nearly out of bounds when, with a massive effort, he unleashed a blast of fire at the sky, one so hot and powerful that it sent him flying back toward a very surprised-looking Kurai. What? He yelped right before he was forced to dodge, Todoroki sliding to a smooth stop on a ramp made of ice, the flames on his left side having died down. You almost had me, Hikari, his opponent admitted breathlessly. But you're still not hitting as hard as when you fought Nomu. I thought we weren't going to hold back here. I'm trying something new, Kurai admitted, keeping his guard up for the slightest hint of ice or flame. My powers aren't as strong as they were, but I think you can agree that I still pack quite a punch. You do. Todoroki nodded as he stood up straight, abandoning his combat stance. But I don't think that power matters in the end. We've both given it our best here, right? Yeah? Kurai said with a slight frown, unsure what his classmate was up to. Then I can be satisfied with that, the dual-quirked boy said with a peaceful look on his face. You and Midoriya have given me a lot to think about today, Hikari. But one thing that remains clear to me is I will not be his pawn, no matter what it costs me. Kurai's gaze flicked over to Endeavor, who, like most of the crowd, appeared puzzled by the latest standstill in what had been a very start-stop fight. His eyes returned to Todoroki, who still hadn't moved an inch. "What's he got to do with this?" Kurai demanded, still not understanding. "For once, I'm going to make sure he has nothing to do with it," the other boy answered as he turned on his heel. He then promptly walked out of bounds, stunning Kurai and everyone else in the stadium. He looked over his shoulder long enough to say, "I know that out of everyone here today, you fought the hardest to stand where you are, Hikari. The win is yours." With that, he headed toward the exit tunnel, ignoring the protesting cries of the crowd and the furious look that Endeavor was giving him. Todoroki stepped out of bounds," Midnight said amidst a combination of confused shouts from the stadium. "Hikari is the winner of this match and the first-year tournament. Congratulations!" Kurai could hardly register the words of the professor, such as they were. His mind was too busy racing as he released his newfound power amid his heavy breaths. "Did I really earn that?" he thought, feeling dazed as he sat down, lightheadedness washing over him. Or does this just mean that his hatred for Endeavor means more to him than being number one? Either way, he was the winner of the UA Sports Festival for his year. After having his bruises and scrapes bandaged, Kurai was taken to a section beneath the stadium by Cementos, where he found himself standing among the other finalists for the tournament, Todoroki, Midoriya, and a barely restrained Bakugo. Kurai actually froze in place for a second when he saw the kid, tied up with multiple ropes to a cement pillar, with irons over his hands, and raging impotently through a muffler that had been placed over his face. His ferocious struggle redoubled as soon as he saw his victorious opponent come into the room. What?" he asked of no one in particular. Midoriya was standing next to the blonde student on the podium marked with the number 3, and he looked rather uncertain as to whether the chains and ropes would actually hold the crazed student. "He has been trying to escape in order to fight you again, it seems," Cementos said as he directed Kurai to stand on a higher podium marked 1. Todoroki was on his right, opposite of Midoriya and Bakugo in the second place slot. The heterochromic boy kept his face blank, but Kurai noticed that the hard light had left his eyes to be replaced with a more thoughtful look. "I'll see if I can't make sense of what really happened later," he decided, turning to look down at Midoriya with a grin, which his friend returned. "Congrats," he told him. "You too." Izuku laughed as they exchanged a fist bump. "Mina was really excited for you, by the way." "Here's to hoping that I survived the bone-crushing hugs, then." Kurai laughed, doing his best to ignore Bakugo's furious screams. "How about you? Is there... He stopped, some unknown instinct telling him to shut up now. Shut his mouth and not even finish what he had been about to utter. "What's up?" Midoriya asked, also appearing as though he were trying to focus on anything but Bakugo. "Sorry, I meant to ask, did your mom call you?" He stammered as he scratched behind his head. "I'm sure she's proud of how far you got." "Yeah, she actually called me while Recovery Girl was healing my hand," Midoriya answered. "She was worried, of course, but she did say that she was proud of me." "Sounds about right for a good mom." Kurai laughed lightly while Cementos went to kneel beside the platform they were all on. "I haven't actually even had a chance to talk to my family, and they're here in the stadium." "All right, now, get ready to go up," Cementos told them. "All Might will be giving you the medals in front of all your classmates, so do your best to be ready for the cameras." How is anybody supposed to be camera ready when we've got him set up like that?" Kurai asked dryly while he jerked a thumb at his still struggling Bakugo. "I said to do your best," Cementos said with an apologetic look. "Sorry, but the principal insisted that he be a part of the ceremony. He has earned his place up there, just like you earned yours at the top." Fair enough." Kurai shrugged as the ceiling above them began to recede, admitting sunlight and the sound of a cheering crowd once more. As soon as the roof had been retracted wide enough, Cementos sent them up with a moment's thought. The entirety of the first year was assembled before them in the stadium, with Midnight standing between the two groups. Cameras innumerable were flashing and recording this moment, which boded poorly for Bakugo's future career, Kurai thought with a small smirk. Then he shook himself internally, thinking, since when did I get so mean? He saw his friends in the crowd, all of them wearing big smiles as they looked up at their classmates. He saw Mina throw him a kiss, so he decided to respond with a wink and a grin of his own, which set her to smiling even wider. "Here they are, the winners of this year's sports festival," Midnight announced, interrupting the silent exchange. "Well done, all of you." Turning around to look up at the stadium, she added, "But of course, there's only one man worthy of distributing the medals. You all know who it is." "Ha ha 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 ha!" All Might's laughter boomed down from the lip of the Coliseum as his silhouette emerged from the same spot. "Citizens!" he called down just before he leaped off the mile-high roof to crash down next to Midnight. "I am here to hand out the medals!" Unfortunately, it seemed that he and the R-rated heroine had failed to coordinate beforehand, because at the same time he was talking, she accidentally overrode him, saying, "It's the number one hero." All Might gave her a frustrated look, prompting her to make a quick apologetic gesture and say, "Sorry, I kind of ruined that, didn't I?" She quickly recovered, though, and went to retrieve a small board that had 4 white and red straps hanging over the sides, saying, "Since you're here, All Might, why don't you start the presentation?" The massive man laughed it off and took a bronze medal from the woman before walking up a short set of steps to stand in front of Midoriya and Bakugo. Turning to the green-haired boy first, he said, "Young Midoriya, congratulations. You worked hard to make it here and it shows. Even if you didn't win, you can go home knowing you did your best, even if there is room for you to grow." With that, he placed the medal over his student's neck before wrapping him in a warm embrace. Midoriya looked as though he might faint from sheer happiness at the words of praise from his idol. "Very well done, young man." "Thanks, All Might," Izuku managed to squeak out. "This means a lot to me, coming from you." The number 1 pro laughed heartily as he stepped back and patted the young man on the shoulder with a surprising gentleness that Kurai wouldn't have thought possible with such a massive frame. Briefly turning around to grab the other bronze medal, All Might paused when he stood in front of Bakugo, chained up like a feral animal and breathing heavily, apparently having at long last run out of the energy necessary for such violent struggles. This seems like a bit much, doesn't it?" he asked of no one in particular as he quickly undid the muffler on his student's face. "There we are." Kurai braced himself for a round of loud verbal abuse, but all Bakugo did was growl viciously at his teacher before snarling, "All Might! You can keep that piece of garbage!" he roared, startling the large man and causing his classmates to wince and edge away from him slightly. "There's no way I'm sharing the same place as that weakling like Deku!" Midoriya flinched and visibly deflated as he clutched at the piece of metal hanging from his neck. "Come on now," All Might said in a placating tone. "This is a learning experience, young Bakugo. You earned this place by your own sweat and blood, never mind the efforts of your classmates. If you are unhappy with the place you earned, then let this medal serve as a reminder that you can always do better." He tried to put the strap over the boy's neck, but Bakugo continued to protest, until All Might was forced to jam the fabric between his teeth, effectively forcing him to be quiet again, much to the collective relief of his classmates. Putting on another big smile, All Might approached Todoroki with the silver medal in hand. "Young Todoroki, congratulations," he said quietly. "I know you must have had a reason for throwing the match, but as your teacher, I feel the need to remind you that you should never waste an opportunity, especially one right in front of you." "I know, sir," the boy said as his instructor placed the ribbon around his neck, "but I honestly believe that Hikari would have won in the end, and there are some things I need to sort out before I can really begin forging my own path. I felt that I didn't have the right to stand up to someone so earnest and giving it his all, trying his best to become a hero like you." His brown and blue eyes rose up to meet All Might's as he added, "I also want to be a hero like you someday. So I promise that I'll remember everything I learned today and use it to achieve that dream." "That's good, then." All Might nodded before embracing Todoroki briefly. "I look forward to seeing your progress from now on, young man." Then he stepped back to receive the final medal from Midnight. Striding up the last set of stairs after he'd taken the gold piece, he stood before Kurai, who had remained silent throughout the entire proceedings thus far. "Young Hikari, congratulations," he said as his student bowed his head to receive his prize. "Though you have faced obstacles that many would have run away from, you still emerged triumphant. Ha! I suppose I can see why some expect you to replace me someday." Kurai smiled and let out a little laugh escape at that. "With all due respect, sir, I don't really think there's anyone capable of replacing you," he said as he straightened himself, the gold medal hanging securely off his neck. "I'll just be happy to be another hero who does his part to keep the masses safe." All Might's smile broadened as he replied, "While I believe there is some truth to that, your actions speak of a greater ambition. Just remember that dreams and ambitions can change, young Hikari, even if we don't realize that it's happening." He paused to let those words sink in before concluding, "Either way, you have done very well. The top spot of this year's sports festival is yours." Then it was Kurai's turn to be embraced, and again he was surprised at how someone so huge could be so gentle. Gives a new image for the old term, gentle giant, he thought as All Might retreated down the steps to address the rest of the classes that had assembled. "Remember, students," he began, "any one of you could have been up here on this podium. Think about what you've done today, about how you've challenged each other, learned, and taken steps towards your own goals of being pros." His smile somehow managing to widen yet again as he pointed to the sky, he added, "I think the next generation of heroes is proving to be our most promising one yet. So I have only one thing left to say, and you all know what it is. I want to hear everyone yell it with me. Plus Ultra!" The crowd, and many of the students, shouted excitedly. Unfortunately, it seemed that All Might had something else in mind, as evidenced by his simultaneous utterance of the words, "Thanks everyone for all your hard work." He paused, unsure of how to proceed. That is, until the crowd shouted at him, "That was the perfect chance to say Plus Ultra, All Might!" Teachers around here really should be better at reading the room with the amount of press that they get. Kurai thought with a poorly contained smile while All Might tried to recover. I'm sorry, my bad, he said awkwardly amid a cacophony of boos. It's just that everyone did such a good job. That afternoon, they met in their homeroom for a brief address by Aizawa, who actually handed out some, however brief, praise that lacked a double meaning of any sort. He also did alert them to the possibility that they could be contacted by pro heroes that would have been scouting the festival for potential interns. He ended the matter by telling them to take it easy for the next 2 days. 4 if one counted the weekend, but to be ready for more training as soon as they returned. Kurai had only managed to get in a few minutes' time to meet up with his family in private before his father had to go back to work, but he made it clear that he was quite proud of his son's victory. His mother was glad of his safety, and of course, Akuroi had to make fun of the fact that he won on a technicality. Still, it was clear that he was happy for his brother, so Kurai had let it slide. In any case, they didn't have time to get into an argument, with him needing to head back to school with the rest of his class in order to meet up with their teacher. When the class was dismissed, Mina set about gathering the majority of their number to plan a beach party, since the weather was scheduled to be warm for the next few days. Naturally, Ida wouldn't be joining them since he was out in Hosu in order to be with his family, and Bakugo was already gone, his mood even more foul than usual. Kurai had already called his friend and offered to join him at the hospital, but apparently Tensei was only allowed to receive visits from family for the time being, and even those were going to be limited until he was in stable condition. The bespectacled student had thanked his friend for the offer, but their family just wanted to be left to each other's company for the time being. Kurai didn't even bother telling Tenya that he had won the festival. He knew it wouldn't matter much to his friend at that time, especially given that they had been pitted against each other, and Ida had lost right before finding out about his brother. I hope he'll be okay, Kurai thought grimly as he watched everyone else planning for the victory celebration. He noticed Todoroki making for the door, so he caught up to him before he could exit the room and tapped him on the shoulder to get his attention. When his former opponent had turned around with a question in his eyes, Kurai asked, "Would you be interested in the beach party we're planning? I think we're going to end up making a full day out of it on Friday." Even as the words left his mouth, he mentally braced himself for the inevitable no that the quiet boy would no doubt give him. "Maybe I'll drop by for a few minutes." Kurai blinked a few times, not sure that he had heard correctly. "What, really?" he asked just to make sure. "Yeah," Todoroki shrugged. "There's something I need to do first, but if I have the time, I'll come around. Dagobah Municipal Beach, right?" "Yeah, that's the one." Kurai nodded. "I hope to see you there." Todoroki nodded as he turned his back around and headed out the door. "Later, Hikari." "Yeah, later." The other person he made sure to invite before they could leave was Yayorozu. He approached the long-haired girl in the hallway, having just confirmed alongside Mina that Shoji and Ojiro were planning to attend. "Mind checking when Uraraka and Midori are coming?" he had asked his girlfriend. "I'm going to see if Yayorozu wants to come, since Jiro already said she was down." "Sure thing," Mina said with a cheery grin as she went to approach the mentioned pair, who were going over some of Izuku's notes. As soon as she had gone, he made his way over to his training partner, who was speaking to Jiro and Hagakure with a smile, which he hoped meant that she would be willing to talk, especially if her friends were present. "Hi," he said with a nervous grin as he approached. "Yo," Jiro said with a grin as he stood in front of them, while Hagakure waved in response. At least, he thought she was waving at him. His spirits sank a little bit as Yayorozu's face went a little stiff, but he resolved to speak to her anyway. "Does your girl know you're over here chatting up with 3 ladies?" Jiro teased Kurai, causing him to redden instantly and drawing a laugh out of Hagakure, furthering his embarrassment. "Yeah, she does," he said, just managing not to trip over the monosyllabic words. "I was just, He paused, his mind suddenly blank. "Ah, crap." Jiro and their invisible friend burst into laughter while Yayorozu asked in a neutral tone, "Did you need something, Hikari?" Yeah," he stammered, remembering what it was that he had intended to speak. "Mina and I were both wondering if you'd be interested in my party. Well, I mean, it's not really my party, it's celebrating Midori and Todoroki too. Actually, Todoroki's probably going to stop by for a little bit, but he made second place, so I figured he should be a part of it, and Kirishima's going to try to invite Bakugo, but Mina thinks that that's going to blow up in his face. No pun intended." He paused, slightly out of breath, but also realizing that he was beginning to ramble. "Dude, you and Midori need to learn how to stop and breathe in between sentences," Jiro snickered. "Actually, I think I'll be busy for the next few days," Yayorozu replied stiffly. "Thank you for the invitation, but I'm going to have to decline." With that, she turned to walk away, but now Kurai knew that she was at least irritated with him, and he didn't want to leave things like that. "Wait," he said as he got in front of her, a slight frown creasing his brow. "Yayorozu, have I done something to make you angry with me?" "No," she replied just a little too quickly for him to believe her. "Please, excuse me." "Just hold on," he insisted, stopping her in place as she started to go around him. "I'm just trying to understand why you don't seem interested in speaking to me. I thought we worked well together in training, and you're the first person at the school that I told about my father, other than Ida.
If I've upset you somehow, I'd really like to know what I did and how I can make up for it. I told you I'm not angry with you, she insisted, a little bit of color working its way into each of her cheeks as she denied his inquiry again. Now please get out of the way. This time he stepped aside to let her pass, a puzzled look fixed on his face. What? He asked Jiro, who shrugged. Don't look at me, she told him. I can try to talk to her later, but I really have no idea what you did to make her mad. Well, yeah, me neither, he said, feeling supremely stupid as he racked his brains, trying to figure out what he could have possibly done to anger the class deputy. Was it because I didn't vote for her as class rep? He wondered. Hey, stop thinking so hard, Hagakure told him. I can see smoke coming out of your ears, dude. Yeah, chill out, Jiro chided him. We'll all be there on Friday morning, okay? It'll be fun. Yeah, right, he stammered, scratching his head as he did his best to relax. I'll see you both there. That night, he had dinner with his father, mother, brother, and Mina, who had been invited to celebrate his victory with them. The mood was a little dampened by the Ida family not being able to join them, but they still had a good time. He was glad that his girlfriend was getting along well with his family, though he wished that Akaru wasn't so free with the embarrassing childhood stories. The fact that his parents insisted that it was the price he paid for bringing home a pretty girl did not help matters. Even so, he figured it meant that they were okay with him having a girlfriend at this point, and that was a good way to end what had been a long day, one that seemed as though it had begun months ago. So it was that when he fell into a deep sleep, he was smiling, glad of all he had accomplished, and eager for the opportunities that the future would bring him.
Alrighty, so I'm hoping you guys enjoyed the finale to the whole battle scenario thing, and I also hope that somebody appreciated that meta joke that I dropped in at the end there, because it has been... It's been like 2 or 3 months since I started this, since we actually started the battle part of it. I think I've been on this actual arc for 4 months now or something. It's been a while since I started this one. But yeah, Kurai is the winner. I thought about having Todoroki be the winner, like he could have won in the original, but in the end, I thought that his frame of mind wouldn't allow him to claim victory at this point. But we can get to that in a minute. The first thing that I liked opening up with was the before and after picture that they plan on taking. Because you can kind of see in the background here and on every thumbnail of the YouTube videos, this is basically going to be the after picture they talked about. I originally planned on doing a sketch of them on their PE uniforms as the before image, but I never got around to it. Maybe I'll do it eventually. I don't know. But I kind of wanted them to have this quartet to have a moment of hey, this is kind of where we all got our start from, and because these four are definitely going to be more involved with each other as the story goes on for various reasons.
You guys can draw it. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, so I know Junklone's done a couple little doodles here and there.
I haven't seen them. I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I still have them. But yeah, if you guys want to draw that, that'd be kind of cool. Sorry, where was I going with that? So basically,
selfie,
selfie to the start. I wanted them to have to the start of a beautiful friendship kind of scene, and I'm hoping I did that well.
And then we have the fight.
Which Becca kind of blanks out on because she doesn't interested in it.
I feel bad because when we were talking about it beforehand, I was like, well, it just pretty much goes like the fight before in the anime, and Joe was like, no.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Okay, see, for me, my brain just kind of turns off during the combat most of the time, and then it turns back on when people are talking.
Difference between boys and girls. I live for the punching people in the face part, and she wants to know what they're feeling.
Know what everyone's feeling, because all of the emotions. Okay. Because the conversation's similar, so I'm just like, okay.
Somewhat. One of the biggest differences. One of the biggest differences between the original and my version is that, unlike Bakugo, Kurai was able to get Todoroki to actually use his fire to fight again. And even in the original, Todoroki's fighting Bakugo, he's just using his ice, and then Endeavor's like, use your fire, and Shoto's kind of still trying to give his old man the middle finger, so he's like, no, and then Deku yells at him, and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, what are you doing, man? You can win this. Use your fire. Starts to use it, and then he has a moment of indecision, and Bakugo howitzers him out of the arena, and then Bakugo throws a hissy fit, and it was hilarious. But in this version, he actually is able to... he's able to more or less convince him that, hey, the way we've been fighting hasn't really been fair to the others, And if we're here in the last round, we should at least do each other the courtesy of showing how far we've actually come. And I think that, and of course I wrote it as I expected Todoroki to react to it, but I think that he would respond better to that kind of thing, because this whole time he's been wrapped up in this obsession of doing what only he can do and not what his father wants him to do. So I think he would have responded better to Kurai kind of reaffirming the fact that the fire is also his. It doesn't actually... It might have come from Endeavor, but it doesn't actually belong to him, as it were.
So do you think it cheapened it at all that he walked off after that? Or do you think the point was still made?
I think the point was still... if anything, I feel like the point might have been made stronger, but I'll defer to you guys on your opinion on that, because I don't want to come across as tooting my own horn, but I like to think that this was a stronger moment for Todoroki to walk off, as opposed to just kind of, giving up. He deliberately... He made the decision, no, I'm not... He made the decision to basically tell Endeavor, screw you. I don't need to go the path that you want me to go. I'm gonna walk my own destiny. And he conceded to Kurai, saying that, you know what, even if we keep fighting it out, you're probably gonna win, so let me just save us both some trouble. And while he made a stronger declaration in just walking off as opposed to getting knocked off, I still don't think he was quite in the right headspace that he needed to be in order to really want to win.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He could have won, but I don't know that he would have necessarily been the winner, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt that it would be important to distinguish between the two things.
Cool.
So yeah, Kurai's made the winner, but he's just kind of I thought it was kind of funny. He just sits there and he's like, "Wait, did I earn that, or what just happened?"
I like that he doesn't brood about it, though. That's the difference between him and Bakugo, though, because he's just like, okay, well, I mean, we still kind of gave it our all, even though he just gave up, but okay, cool, whatever. He doesn't really hold on to it.
He's like, you do you, man.
He's just like, all right, well, that could have been cooler, but it's fine.
Yep.
And he just moves on with his life because he's...
and Bakugo gets chained up like a rabid dog, and it's even better because he's sitting next to Izuku, sharing the same ranking.
I can just see it with them on the same podium. And
Izuku's just like...
I can see it. I love it.
Oh yeah, I had so much fun writing that because man, I love the original, but a golden opportunity was missed there, right? It was missed. Come on. Please, for year 2, make them tie, or even better, year 3, so there's never a clear winner between the two of them. Just amazing. Come on. That would be so great.
I don't know. I think Izuku by year 3 is going to
destroy him. Oh my god. Well, yeah, especially, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. And so for year 2, come on, for year 2, make it happen. Make it happen.
I have a feeling Deku's going to destroy him. Yeah. I love that. I don't love Bakugo. I feel like that comes... I don't hate him, though, because I do.
I dislike him very much.
I don't hate him. I think he...
I like what they're doing with his character, but he himself still makes me angry.
As a teacher, I see this angry little boy who's just, filled with so much rage, but also has so much potential. And so I'm just like, you're stupid, you suck, you're a bully, and I don't like that. But I can also see that he's gonna have.
He's having a lot of character growth.
Yeah, he is. It takes a long time, but he is. And I can see they're trying to do the same thing with him that they did. I think they're trying to make him kind of a Vegeta, which I've mentioned
the character archetype, yeah,
for sure,
absolutely.
And so, I have a feeling eventually he's going to be lovable, and people are going to love him like they love Vegeta. And so we'll see. I know most of you guys who are doing this hate him. I'm sorry. I feel like everyone I know who watches the show absolutely hates the character. And I think, yes, if I knew him as a person, I would hate him. But I like the character design in a way. It's hard to describe. But anyway, moving on.
It adds a character dynamic that I feel like a lot of shows are lacking in these days. He's genuinely as a person you dislike him, but as a character arc, you want to root for him. Mm-hmm. I think that's something My Hero Academia has done well, both with Bakugo and Endeavor. I'm never gonna like Endeavor. I will never like Endeavor. But dang it, if that season 4 finale wasn't good.
My heart.
That was... I was like, yeah, he won! Damn it, I still hate him!
Yeah.
What do I do with this?
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's good writing. It's taking you and it's making you emotional about someone that you even don't really care about.
Well, take any interaction that you have with anyone you know in real life. You don't feel just one way about them.
Everyone's complex.
Everyone's complex. You have there's multiple layers of ways that you relate to and feel about someone else.
True.
Whether they be a sibling, a friend, an enemy, any number of number of those.
People are complex.
Yes, good writers know how to evoke a wide range of emotions from you about one character. And the really good ones can keep doing it over and over with a lot of the characters. And I don't think I'm quite there yet, but I'm working on it.
I think you're getting there. So, okay, we have the, award ceremonies pretty similar to the anime, aside from the podium change here.
Yeah.
And then we have
Then we have them getting ready for the beach episode because you know what? Every anime but My Hero Academia apparently has a beach episode.
I'm sure it will at some point.
Oh, I'm sure it'll happen at some point. But like the closest thing they got to
have a swimming pool.
They have a swimming pool episode, yes. But like that was a really, really tame. That was a really, really tame episode, and I was like, "Hey, I like this. This is great. They're all swimming around to exercise. This is precious.
I love it. I love them."
But yeah, it's gonna be the beach episode of anime, more or less.
It's fun though.
I like it. I'm not gonna lie, it's not the most comfortable thing I've ever done, but I have to do things that make me uncomfortable as a writer, or else I'm never gonna grow. I'm just gonna get really stale in my writing style.
The whole purpose of fan fiction, right?
Yes,
So,
it's a giant writing exercise. Yep. Yes. So yeah, there's gonna be a beach episode, and but you guys might also be happy to know that I actually there's a beach episode and the Hero Identity episode are actually being rolled into one. Next chapter that you guys are getting is actually going to be a fairly extra long one. So kind of like it's going to be kind of like an epilogue / prelude to the next arc. To the next arc, the internship arc. So by the end of the next chapter, actually, you guys will get to find out A, Kurai's hero name, and B, who he's going to be interning with. Yeah. So let me know in your reviews what you think it's going to be.
I know some people are already.
A lot of people are rooting for Gran Torino, and it might well be. But I'm interested. But I've actually dropped hints as to who it's going to be throughout the story. So maybe go back and check it out.
Anyone guesses it.
We'll see if anybody can guess it. Yeah. I was like, I love trying to get my readers to guess and stuff, and then laughing at them when they're wrong, or hanging my head in shame when they're right because I didn't make it subtle enough. But So they're planning for the beach episode and beach party.
And it's become painfully obvious that Yaoyorozu has some beef with him.
Yep.
She's salty.
Yep.
She's salty.
Yep. She's about as salty as that crocodile jerky that I ate one time. That was the saltiest thing I've ever eaten in my life.
That was so random.
Well, that's how salty she is. You guys should try salted crocodile jerky, and you'll see how salty this girl's being.
And on that note,
I'm not done yet.
Oh, I thought it was over.
Family
dinner.
Yeah. So he's gone on a couple of dates with Ashido, and he's had her over. He's had her over with like the other friends.
With the fam.
Yeah, he's had her over with other friends and stuff. But now it's like she's hanging out with him during the sports festival. She went up to the booth to hang out with them, and now they've invited her over for dinner. It's kind of like I thought, like it was a little scene at the end, but I thought it was important for the family to kind of give her the stamp of approval.
Yeah.
There will be more on that later on in the story that I think will make you guys laugh, but. We get Akurui again. Like he's in there for just a couple little scenes, but he's being a little turd again.
Yeah, we don't get a whole lot of dialogue, but we at least get kind of an idea of what's going on.
I will throw you guys a bone and say that he will be heavily involved in the he'll be heavily involved in the Two Heroes movie arc, which is coming up at the end of that'll be in between season 2 and 3 arc. Those of you, she likes him. I know a couple of you guys really like him, so just hang on for a few more chapters, and you'll get to see a lot more of him, and I guarantee you guys will love it.
Yes.
I can't guarantee because I can't pander to everybody's individual aesthetic, but I'm 92% certain.
The people who like Akurui
I'm
will
92% certain that you guys will like it.
I hope. We'll see. I love it. So, all right.
She just likes seeing Akudori get a chance to mouth off to everybody.
I do. He's so sassy. I love him.
But thank you guys so much for indulging us again. I hope you enjoyed the chapter, and a happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you again for the next one. Stay plus ultra, everybody.